guys, I'm Jamie Gonzalez.
We got the scholar over here on the notebook. I'm Nick McGurk.
I'm Shad Stoker.
Welcome to the Born Detailer Podcast. Man, guys, is this so good today?
I just want to rap every time I hear this beat.
Yeah, I'm so pumped too.
Life is good.
Shad's feeling good.
I always feel good, baby.
All of us are like sick as a dog.
Yeah,
we're trying
all
to
sick, but
pretend we're not
and I
sick.
went to the doctor twice, and I thought I was gonna scare everything off, but hey,
There's no sick days when you're a detailer, though.
No, there's no sick days.
Unfortunately.
Sick days are being broke days. You can't make. No one want to hear that. You know. Yeah, you know. Yeah, that was good though. I know. But yeah, what's up, man?
Hey,
How's
what's
everyone
chilling?
doing? How you guys doing?
I'm sorry. Life is good.
Life is good.
Even
man.
when
Life
you're
is
not
good.
feeling good, life is good. You always teach me that. You always like,
life is good.
You always
life
make me
is
feel
really
like that.
good. It's been weird weather. Everybody's sick that I know. But yeah, Shad
Still grinding, man.
Yeah.
Still grinding. Still have to get it.
I just can't.
this is the COVID edition.
The COVID edition.
Good luck, Shad. Good luck. I'm already in the trenches, Shad.
H9N1 Nile
So what do you have?
virus.
What have you done this week?
Wait, H9. Is that
Is that the
Not
He already has like the virus.
the H1N1. H1N1. That's what I was thinking.
Oh yeah, H1N1.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Not H9. You know, I got that compound on the brain, so it's.
Have you
Well,
ever?
this is a polishing podcast,
Yeah,
right?
polishing podcast.
Don't choose the wrong one or else.
Or you die. I mean,
Yeah, dude. You don't. Otherwise, I've when I've polished sometimes, and I wasted so much time because I just didn't like have an actual process, and
just free balling it all the time.
free balling, yeah, balls to the wall, like just going at it. But hey, yeah. So, anyways, I have this video. Real quick.
And today I'm gonna give
This
you
guy
one simple
is still
tip
doing-
you can do to increase your efficiency when it comes to polishing paint. Now, if you're doing this as a weekend warrior, as you just like to detail your own personal vehicle,
Dude, I think-
this might not apply.
Like
to you
really,
because-
what I think about.
Yeah, what's his tip?
So the weekend warrior, his tip is
Do
buy
big
his
His
course.
tip is to download his business
yeah,
course.
download. That's the tip, which is fine.
Man, what a
That's-
businessman,
what-
though. Oscar,
yeah.
hats off to you, bro.
Yeah,
hats off to you.
So my thing is test spot all the time.
Yeah. Let me tell you what I don't like about this is it might be a good tip if the liquids you're using will allow you to do this. A lot of liquids you can't do that size of a panel. You can't.
Oh, you just saw him do half the hood.
Well, that was
and you cringed. a
That
little
was
bit.
the tip: is do bigger sections. And the problem is like you use the Rupert stuff, and you're just gonna dry out halfway through. And actually, the second panel he did, it dried out.
Well, even if you're using like Rupes Advance,
That's his
you
tip.
can, you
is
can
to
hit the whole. You can hit the whole car and then come back because it wants to set up.
Right.
So what if he's using what if he's using an all-in-one?
That's different. So again, it's dependent on what you're doing, what product
and then
you're
what if
working
he's
for.
using like me? I'll use only one. I'll use one compound or one polish, and like something that's pad dependent, or I'll pad up or pad down depending on the damage of the car. Specifically because I don't want to go and wipe every single panel down. I'll do that and I'll just get my process and hit like half the car or whatever. Then I'll come back and do it knowing that I'm going to reactivate or maybe use some water. And obviously, unless you're doing, I guess if you're detailing outside, you're polishing outside, it'd be completely different.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, there's a lot of variables. Like I believe in one polish, right?
Yeah.
As well,
Yeah.
pad dependent. My question is, you believe in the importance of the test spot. You know paint better than anybody, Jamie. You know that so many panels could be different on one car, right? So, like, if I do a test spot on one panel, how do I know it's going to be good for the next panel? Like, do you worry about it like that, or are you not? Are you not concerned like that?
That's why I like to pick. I like to use, I don't know, like a mid polish, like
Something that's versatile, has a lot of versatility.
Yeah.
And then I just switch my pads.
Yeah. So that's a
If it's
great point.
If it's softer, say like plastics. Obviously, plastics always going to be a different. For you to get like that deep depth, that really clarity, you know what I mean? You want like, that's just gonna. You're always gonna have to switch between metal and plastics. Even with the door handle, if you're trying to like dial in that door handle, or you're dialing the mirror caps is gonna be a different. And I think another thing too is people don't understand when they paint plastic pieces, they put molding agents in there, so it adds like a flexing agent in there. So they put that into plastics because they know those are going to high impact zones. So when they put those through paint, it isn't the same clear coat. It's probably the same brand, but they have like a flex.
Yeah.
We call it flexing agent, molding agent, that had like a adhesion promoter that makes it.
So it's not just that the mirror cap underneath is different, but the actual clear coat's different compared to a metal substrate?
It's probably the same. It's probably the same clear coat, but it's a different. It's like a different reducer or a different activator that's in there to make it.
Because your substrate's different. So I mean, your polish is gonna heat up differently on a plastic substrate than it will on a metal or on a bumper or something like that. But also, yeah, they use different. The formulas aren't the same because they dry differently. I mean,
Yeah, you can dry it like say they're drying it at 180 degrees or something like that, right, to melt, whatever that.
yeah, you can't dry a plastic molding the same way you can.
It'll shrink. So what they do is a lot of the guys a lot of the manufacturers, it is different, but it
Great
is like
point.
the same brand, but it's just like their additives different. Whatever their fast, slow, medium reducer or fast activator, slow activator, 2-to-1, 4-to-1 clear coat. It's just the mixtures of it's just different. That's why when you even polish, when you're polishing plastic, it does that crinkle versus like when you're polishing metal, you'll get a burn through. The burn through is just different.
And both of those involve too much heat, right?
Yeah. Too much heat.
The crinkle on plastic and a bumper.
And it's way worse. It's way worse now because even people talk about clear coats, at least or paints on metal. There is less, but another thing too is that on plastics, if you're pushing on it hard, you could freaking snap that.
Yeah.
Snap the paint. You can break it. You can spider web.
But yeah, even though it might be the same clear coat, those additives and those points that he just made will change the way it reacts to your polishing or to your compound, because it's the same. It might be the same brand, but it's not 100% the same.
I was just curious. Yeah,
So
if
what do you-
they
so what's
spray
your
like
efficient way?
something plastic different than metal is what you're saying, or
Yeah.
no? It's the same stuff or it's different?
No, it's the same base coat, the same. It depends. Like for us, we use two separate adhesion promoters and primers and sealers because it's for plastic. The molding agents hold different. Like it flexes. So like say if we do a lot of we do bumper repair, mobile bumper repair. So if we're spraying on a lot, we use a kicker additive, and the kicker additive it makes your clear coat dry. So like say in the summer we use a slow activator, so when you're spraying in 100 degrees weather, it dries slow. In winter it's the opposite. We're painting on under 30 degree weather outside, so we use a kicker, so a fast activator. So essentially it dries like really fast. So if you put kicker or a fast activator in the summer spraying outside or a really, really warm temperature, you're gonna end up spraying out dust.
Bro.
And you'll spray it. You ever see a car and you look at it and then it looks like there's tiger stripes and they're like, oh, that painter sucks. Man, it was either the back of the panel was probably too hot, it didn't get time to dry, and that creates, it could also be their fan, or it can be like the air distribution or whatever, it can be different. You can have more air up here, more air down here, but when you click your fan and you're setting it, you want to have it set so it's evenly. You don't want like a high fan or a high ball here or high ball here. You want your fan even, so when you're spraying, you're getting that nice pattern on there. You want it just to evenly
Distribute.
So you want
This is the point where I'm just like, you know what you're talking about, I'll hire you to do it.
Yeah, but you want it to evenly distribute it too, but mainly you want it to evenly dry, especially in like metallics. Like if you're spraying like a silver, you can change that color by just using a little bit more PSI. Like say like if you're shooting a silver car or gold or anything that's a high metallic, if you it's using 25 PSI and you use like a 40 PSI, those metallics are going to be completely different. They're going to dance. It's just going to be a different color.
So I feel like
So many variables.
yeah. So I'm
I feel
okay.
stupid
So
now.
exactly, I have the DIY detail shirt on, right? I'm representing the person out there who's like, you just spoke a different language to me, and all I can take away from that is like, I appreciate how much you know. But I'm thinking of the person out there who's watching. We have a lot of detailers watching the podcast, but also like, how does that
home.
affect me? What does that? Do I have to like know exactly what
No,
PSI
no.
you
Okay,
sprayed?
anyway, we just went down the
Exactly
route,
right.
so you don't
So
wanna know any of that.
Give me
Know that.
news shit I can use. You know
Here's
what I
the
mean?
moral to the story.
News you can use.
Test spot every
Yeah,
different
yeah.
substrate.
Yeah.
So do different tests. Do your test
I'm
spots
that's
on
why
your
I'm
plastics.
just
So
like,
anyway, do your test
yeah.
spots on your panels.
Take it to your video real quick.
But like test spot everything. That was
Yeah, test spot everything.
Not necessarily every
on the
panel,
test.
I want to learn
different
how to
substrates.
paint because I want to know what you know, man. All right, here we go.
So
what do we got?
So just take you back to the 5 in. This was you 5 in.
Yeah, pulling all-nighters.
And why did it take you that?
Man, because I was using a
Oh.
3-inch polisher, to polish the whole thing. It was cold, bro. It was a cold shop, and because it was like around 40 degrees in there, the paint was acting really weird. It was acting really weird.
Bro, do you remember shortly after we met, I hit you up and I'm like, hey, I want to ceramic coat my wife's car. Let me use your shop. And you showed up at 6 o'clock the next morning. I was barely laying down the coating. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
I started
pulled
at
an
like,
all-nighter too?
dude, I started at like 3 in the afternoon, and he we
I was like, he needed a place, and I was like, yeah, dude, do whatever. You gotta
but
do.
we barely started kind of like chilling at that point. So he gave me the keys to the shop basically. And yeah, so what I did is I did a test spot on one panel before I came over. And that panel must have been repainted because every other panel was different. So I ended up using the microfibers. And I can't remember what polish I used, but I found the combination that worked. But that one panel was the only panel that worked on. So I only had 2 products that I had to figure out how to work on different panels. So I completely shot myself in the foot. I got it done, but it took me like 16 hours, bro. It was terrible.
Well, that's the thing. I remember this vividly, and the reason I had these 2 polishes, this is before we started DIY. Obviously, I'm not using gold standard here, but like, I really liked M3 from Kachemi, and then Pure was like, I would put a dab of that on there because the paint was
You're being a
cold and it was
chemist.
leaving. I was being I don't know, man. But what I would say from all this is like, find something that because I knew how to somehow a little dab of this and a little dab of that, whatever. Of course I knew. It took me 40 hours to polish this damn Toyota.
thought you knew.
I thought I knew. But just find a system that works for you, right, guys? I don't know.
Yeah, so I think most cases, I feel like getting 3 different types of compounds or polishes, I feel like it's just not needed anymore. Like with clear coat, I would say I would just get more pads. I would get 3 different pads, 1 polish.
See, those are rotary track marks, and that's what I got to. But I mean, it was.
Those are nice rotary tracks, though.
You like those? You like those?
It looks like a design, a pattern on there.
Man, I was hitting that paint so hard. I'm like, it's brand new paint. Let's let's remove at least
Brand new paint.
X amount of
Did you-
All right, let's see what Jamie's got. Let's see what were you up to back in the day. Who's this guy?
Yeah,
Okay.
so that's another thing too. Is like, so right here, I'm just watching myself.
So
I'm like,
obviously that's our rotary step. We still have to take out all rotary tracks.
and I would say like
Some deeper scratches. I don't
a lot of what was I gonna say?
What are you gonna say?
I would say
You're just looking at yourself. You're like, dang, I look good. Like my finger, like I was so good.
Yeah, dude. Freaking dope. But I always have nightmares with cars, man. Like with different paints. Like I just feel like I know it, and I'm better now. But I still like there's still not a actual. We have a kind of a code book. We kind of have like a little secret code book. Like I'll be like, yo, so what are we doing on this car? This is what we're doing. So I'll have these different code books that I'm like trying to figure out. Like this is what we're gonna do on the GM paint. This is what we're gonna do on Porsche paint. This is what we're gonna do on Honda paint. This is like what's gonna get the max scratches out or whatever we're gonna do. But I feel like it's really hard to really dial in a system if you have so many different products. I'm becoming more into just having one product, like literally one product and like 3 pads, maybe 4 pads, because you want like a really soft pad. You want like a nice medium, like a yellow or a red. We really like the orange HDO here. Because I find out too, yeah. So like even with the orange like HDO, because it's a medium, like
medium polishing.
medium polishing. Whether you're using gold standard or you're using Uno Pure or you're using microcut, whatever you're using.
I like you're eating some eggs here. I let you staying healthy.
Yeah, dude. That was a long time ago.
All right, regardless of what you're eating.
But yeah,
interrupting. Sorry.
So yeah, I think that learning that pad system and keeping the actual products, like one product, you're good. I don't know. It's really hard to say.
So you know why you have nightmares? You know why you have nightmares about cars, right?
Why?
Because you got detailitis, bro. Like the rest of us, you're always trying to do like you see shit. You see the stuff that the customer doesn't see, and we're always like we're chasing that. Like we talk about it all the time. It's a detriment to us, but it's so hard to keep in check. Having the discipline to know that you can get something out. But man, having the knowing you can get scratches out, but having the discipline to not do it. It's the Achilles heel for most detailers, man. It is really, really challenging to do.
It's interesting. I mean, what I'm wondering is like, do your guys feel that, or do they feel like not that pressure because they're not dealing with the customers?
Yeah, I think they're not. they just know
Because the single operator who goes in and buys stuff from you at Budco, right? Or
No.
the people who are watching right now, like there's a lot of single operators. I was one of them. Like they're needing to stay real disciplined, or they're going to get into that detailitis where they're going after scratches for them, not the customer.
Professionals, even if you're not a single operator, even if it's not your business, like if you are passionate about what you do, if you care like your guys do, you still have to have that discipline, man, because you want to chase. You want to do the most all the time. And it's just not, you can't stay profitable.
Yes, you know, when you really care about your craft. But
When you're a born detailer, that's what you do.
Yeah, come on, bro. Come on,
That's
man.
what you do.
Hey. But dude, I think now with the technology, dude, it's been so good, and everyone's telling you like, yo, you can get this to damn near mirror finish with a one step. If you figure the pad out and you figure out, you should be able to get most paints with the one step. Unless you get to plastics and bumpers and stuff.
I think it's so interesting because like when we do one step to DIY, like we're not going after all the scratches. Like the whole goal is keep the paint cool, get it shiny, be okay with the deeper stuff. But when you guys go for one steps, you don't leave scratches. Like you'd rather leave microfiber haze or DA haze and get all the scratches than like
because we charge for scratch removal. Like,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
Our big that's
For
our
sure.
biggest thing is scratch removal. It's we have two separate. It's like your paint correction is a paint correction. That's the main finish. We also have scratch removal, but you can even get with that one step. You don't need to. We can get like minor haze with a one step, and 90% of people are gonna be like, God damn, like
Right.
that dude that just
they
picked up
never
the car
see
right
it.
now.
Yeah.
That was a one step. We just banged that out. Like he just came, he was cool. You know,
He was stoked. The guy who just came in before we started.
yeah. So I think you teach that. Both of you guys are teaching one steps. Like you
Oh,
both
that's
teach-
that's my go-to.
It's easier to teach than it is to implement, I think, in your business. Or maybe you want the guy who's never
It's not-
detailed before and you teach them to do a one step and then they don't.
It's not-
because that person in that video, I couldn't do a one step.
It's not that implementing it is harder. It is getting out of your own goddamn way
Yes.
and actually being disciplined to do it. Implementing it's easy. It's easy.
So it's discipline.
That's 100% what it is.
Yeah, but see, how do you
No,
how do
I
you share
hear
that
that, though.
discipline? How do you do that though? Like when you're teaching someone and you're doing a DIY and you're doing whatever, these people that and they need to make money. Like how are you teaching? So if you're going to do
So if I'm teaching it is
because obviously people aren't
spot
doing it.
Test spot. I do my test spot. Okay, if I'm shooting for if this customer is paying for a level 2, let's say at 85% defect removal, I do my test spot, however many it takes, 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever it takes till I get to where I think I'm, within that 80 to 90% defect removal range, right? And I know that this pad, this compound, this many passes gets me this result. And I stop so much looking at the result as I am focusing on continuing that process until I see a problem. Now, if you get to a panel that's repainted and you do that first, this pad, this polish 4 times gets me 90% or 85%, whatever it is, and you get to that panel and you do it and you wipe it and you're like, oh, something's wrong here, then I'll readjust. But until that happens, it is plug and play. It is, I do my test spot and I get out of my own way. It is, I know 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, wipe, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, wipe until I notice a problem.
One thing that I have been doing with Ivan, we do these videos and everything. It's like we'll just go around the entire car and we just leave the polish on the paint and we don't wipe it off as we go. So we do a test spot first, right? At the beginning, we see what we get, and then after that, we just trust the process, right?
So I love
dude,
that
Nick
premise.
from Hawk Pro would never have done that. I
We
mean,
do
like,
that. We do that.
yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
like
about
you
little
just trust the
advance.
process. You get it done. You go up, down, left, right, up, down, boom. You move on, and then you wipe, panel prep, and coat at the end or whatever. But like,
You know what's interesting is I can almost guarantee that if you do that, you're still going to save time, even if you wipe it and you find a problem panel.
At the end?
Because
Yeah.
the problem is if you're going through and you find the problem panel in the middle, you then have to
You
make that
change everything.
mental
Yeah.
adjustment back to where you were.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
sometimes you won't. Like it screws you up and then you're back to screwing around to figure out what's worked. So that's actually, I've seen your guys do that
we
for a
do.
long
Yeah,
time.
we do.
And that is, I never made that connection, but that is so smart. Wipe it off and then, okay, this is a problem. This door didn't turn out like the rest. Let me fix this, and that's it.
so if you're just
that's why I
if you're
like-
just doing a polish though, you wipe it off as you go. But maybe
You can do
if
whatever
you're-
you want.
You can do whatever
We
you
don't
want.
that.
Yeah,
But,
yeah.
Like I'm just saying, obviously, for us, controlled environment, we can do that. We can leave.
And you don't have-
compound. We're not worried about stuff.
You don't have any problem with the wipe off if it dries
Depends.
too much on the.
No, well, actually, with the stuff we're using, we don't.
Okay.
Like,
Yeah.
Like if you're doing one step with Uno Advanced, no, because anyways, to get that proper, for it to really bond, you need a 5-minute.
Yeah.
Oh, that's some different polishes are different. Stuff with the protection wants you to leave it for a while,
yeah,
right?
If you're using stuff like Uno
Protect.
not Uno Protect.
Uno Advanced. Uno Pure.
Uno Pure, you're using the stuff like DIY, something that has more lube, or it's a longer working time, really
Yeah.
long working time.
Yeah.
When you're using stuff like that, you know it's a longer working time. So if I'm using Uno, same thing with that. You don't want to do that in sun. It's hot as hell.
Yeah.
You
Right.
can't do that.
Yeah,
But
you probably don't want to- yeah.
You could do Uno Protect or something has like a sealant wax
'Cause it
wipe-off
stays
type
wet.
of-
Yeah,
because
absolutely.
When it hardens, that's
What
'Cause
tips do you have for cold weather polishing? Because you guys are doing this every day.
cold weather polishing too.
Like when paint gets cold. Because you guys are bringing cars in from outside.
I
It's still
think
cold. You're not letting it sit for 2 hours to warm up. Like you're
No, because
a
that's the
working
thing
shop.
is too is that then it comes into the thing of, getting panels too hot and then you worried about if their scratches are going to come back or, so my thing is too is that just trust we know how to push it and we know that we are working. Dude, there's like times.
But what do you do in cold weather? Like what happens to paint? Like what cold paint? Are there tips and tricks?
Does it change anything?
Yeah, it does.
Yeah,
So
you got a cold panel coming in,
cold
you guys
panel,
are gonna start working on it versus the middle of summer.
Most of the time, it takes longer to get the scratches out, and you don't want to go right in hot and heavy. You want to pass it, get it hot, get it warm,
Okay.
or not even necessarily warm, but you just don't want to. If you polish a cold ass pad and you use any type of force, you're folding the plastic.
Oh yeah.
Because it's gonna get hot fat, which I don't know. There's probably some science behind that. I don't know. What would you think that? So like if something's cold and then you just hit it with a lot of
Heat. It's probably kind of like.
because I know if say you ever see people back into like a bumper that's cracked, a lot of that time that happens when it's cold. Because if it was hot, the bumper would just pop in. You'll see the pop-ins.
It's
You'll
more
see those.
malleable.
Yeah,
Yeah.
then you can just pop it out. But if in the cold, it doesn't.
Well, that's why. That's probably why it happens. Is because when it's warm, it's malleable. It's got some flex to it. When it's cold and you heat it up, it.
So I would say whatever the science to that is the science to being in the cold.
So best if you could just like let it warm up, ideally.
Yeah, let it warm
Or
up.
do like you
Wash
said,
it,
do
let it-
a couple light passes to get the panel warm, but also get your pad and get your. I mean, most abrasives they have to get warm before they really start to bust down and work.
I feel like they're all meant to work in more moderate temperatures, right? Like I have no idea what I'm talking
I don't
about
know.
trying to make
Dude,
cold
honestly, I
get
feel like
warm.
all of that is to save chemists and chemical companies' ass.
Really?
They just don't want you messing up your car. I feel like everything.
Yeah.
It's nothing to do with your car. They don't care about you. It's just to save their ass.
They don't care about you.
I don't know how you feel.
We
I'm
care
just
about
saying,
you.
I'm just saying that. I feel like anything they tell you is because there's a possible chance 1 in 100 that something bad's gonna happen. Same thing with like using different chemicals. Don't let it sit this long because it's gonna mess up. Just don't even use it. Don't put this on it because it's gonna mess up. Like certain people don't use acids or different things on aluminum because why? It's gonna mess it up. But I know a lot of old school detailers. It's all they do is use acid or certain degreasers and stuff that could mess up. It's just, bro.
Yeah.
The
risk to
rules-
reward is what
and-
you have
and
to.
Those rules are those rules are for people that don't do it.
There are very few hard and fast rules in detailing. A lot of it is suggestions, is recommendations, because with the right knowledge, again, if you know how to properly use an acid, you've been training, you've been doing it forever, you can use that on a lot more sensitive surfaces because you know how long you can push it. You know when that fine line between working and damage is, but that comes with knowledge.
Okay,
It comes
so when you're polishing, or if you're polishing out a scratch, and you're hitting it. So say you're polishing, and you don't even look at the scratch. You compounded it, and you're just polishing down now. Like, how do you know? Like, because I know they have like the 5-5-5 method, or we have here. We don't even know what it's called. We'll just do like a 2 pass, and then we like wipe it and be like, cool. Like, that's part of your test spot, right? Does that make
I mean, I think if you're looking for scratch removal, you probably want to do a test spot. But I mean,
So
if
I
it's just
think-
one unique scratch, that's a whole different thing, right?
Yeah, isolated scratch. What is it?
Yeah.
Isn't there like abbreviation for that?
RID.
Random isolated
scratch. No, wait, RID.
defect.
No.
Yeah.
Man,
Defect.
I used to sand OEM paint all the time. Like, I don't know. I just feel like that's not a good idea. Like,
I
I'm in the
disagree.
business of
I
recommending
disagree.
like a
How many-
safe.
but how
so
many times-
you're a fan of sanding
I'm a huge fan of
on
sanding.
OEM paint.
Yes, sanding for
Because I'm speaking to the enthusiast, right? Like, I'm trying to teach the safest method that
If-
you can't
Tell me
screw
why
up
you
for
think it's
shiny
safe,
paint.
though.
if you
So I wanna
know
hear what
why,
you-
if you know what you're doing,
Okay.
you will take off less clear coat to sand a scratch out than you will trying to compound it out. You will chase
all hot and
you'll,
everything?
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
you'll remove more clear coat. It's safer. So for RIDs, for random isolated defects, my favorite is the 3-inch made from Rupes and their X-Cut sanding discs. So like depending on the clear coat, if it's harder, I'll use 1500. If it's softer, I'll use 3000. With the interface pad, mist of water, I'll do 1-2 really quick passes on speed 1, and then I leave it. The scratch is gone, but I have a sanding mark now, 3000 grit. When I go to polish or correct the whole entire vehicle, that sanding scratch will come out. So I go and bang out all my big scratches, and then I hit it all, and it'll level out. It'll take away those sand scratches.
That, for you guys too, because I'm a hot.
I know that can be done.
No,
I've done it. Yeah.
But you guys are both non-heat guys. I'm a heat. Like I'm still. I'm.
Because you got a paint shop here
No,
in
I'm
case something
trying
happens.
not to. I'm trying to change my ways because I know that slow polishing is key, especially in finishing. Like people say, oh, a rotary finishes out the best. Nice, steady, soft. Let the pad do the work. Like slow polishing, in a sense, is the way to do it. It's the safest way to do it. But guess what? I'm a master at it. So I'll freaking heat up a freaking pad.
Yeah, you
Dude,
do it.
again, there's no hard and fast rule. If you're getting results, and that's
But no, but that's the thing is that sanding is because technically you can sand from say 1500, 2000, 3000, 5000. You can hand sand to scratch out because then you're just treating it like you're sanding wood, right? Like there's no heat. You're not getting nothing hot. There's no chance the scratch is gonna come back.
There's
You
got to
didn't
be
form
like
the
an
gut.
art to that too, of like, cause like feathering all those scratches out. Cause I just feel like for me, somewhere around 25 or 3,000, maybe I was unevenly scratching. You know, didn't take
using a
enough
block?
training. Yeah, using like a RID stick from
that's why I like
KXK.
that's why I like the machines.
But
It-
eventually it would just be like, that is a deep ass gouge that I left,
Well-
right? It's somewhere along the line there was a human error.
with the machine, that's why I like the machine. Is you don't
Yeah.
because you're doing so few passes, you don't create a lot of heat.
Do you
don't create
deal with pigtails though?
no.
No.
No, if you're
Okay,
flushing,
okay.
so I'm using a foam interface, and I'm using a foam back abrasive.
Yep.
So I'm not leveling the paint at all. I'm not creating a flat spot. I'm taking out the scratch, or
Yeah.
I'm rounding the edges enough that you don't see the scratch. That's why the foam interface, the X-Cut pads, are the way to go for me because I can do it. And again, I'm taking the variable out. I'm the variable with hand sanding, right?
Yes,
Unless
you
you're
are,
a
yeah.
master like you, I'm the variable. So if I,
I'm just joking,
something.
bro. I'm still messing.
No,
around,
you're,
right?
you're. I've seen you, dude. You're.
But
You're.
it sounded cool. I just wanted to flex.
It did sound cool. It did sound cool. But you are. I would agree with that. Your hand sanding is as good as machine sanding for most people. But that's the benefit to machine sanding for people that aren't masters like you is you take the variable of am I putting more pressure, less pressure? It's you know what I mean. You almost put negative pressure on there, so you just want the sanding disc kind of barely putting pressure on the surface, right? But you take
I
that
always
variable
dealt
out.
with pigtails because I always went ham with my sander.
Pigtails
you know?
are a
maybe,
technique.
Maybe it's because you didn't have a freaking what are they called? What is it? The bucket.
pad washer.
Pad washer, bro.
5,000.
Hey,
Nice.
Speaking of
we
the
just
pad washer-
no, we just wasted so much.
You have two pad washers that I never see your guys use. Like I love the pad washer. I'm a late convert. Didn't used to love the pad washer. Man, we used to spend so much time pressure washing
well,
off our pads, compressed air. I
We
think the
don't
pad
really-
washer
we don't use
works.
it. Yeah, we don't use the pad washer in the shop. Not that we like it, but every mobile guy uses it
They do. You're mobile.
because you're using. It's just a different space. Here we have great air, dude.
yeah.
You know, and I guess you can go at it and be like, well, the air is gonna get into the whatever.
Damage the fibers of the
Yeah,
pads
whatever,
and the, you know,
whatever.
the
And it can do that. I guess
cellular
if you do you.
I'm
don't
an air guy.
I like
Straight
air
up.
too, and I do like the pad washers and they're dope. It's just two separate things. If anything, I
Yeah,
would
yeah.
do both.
Yeah. I think they're good
honestly,
to have around. I think
I would
pads are a
say
pain to clean.
They are
because you
pain.
can
I
clean them
would
with
do
air,
both.
but they're not fully clean, right? Then you gotta
Well, if you think-
then you're gonna wash them
Hold on. Let's back this up because this is where I have
For
a real
foam, though.
for foam.
Foam.
But
Not-
even then, this is where I have a real big issue. Okay, because most people will tell you to prime your pad. If I start with a fresh pad and I prime it, okay, and then after that it's ready to go. If I wash it, then do I have to re-prime it? Because
I think so.
That's my point. So then you're using 10 times the amount of polish that you
No,
could
I
be
don't
using.
think so though.
Which,
You don't
circling
have
back
I don't do
around
that.
to self-promotion, the idea of this pad washer with like a little rinseless wash in there, snappy clean, we use whatever you want. It's a lightly damp pad, right? And then we spray the polish on the moving pad, so it's like 1,000 droplets. Say what you want, use it, don't, whatever. But
I think
at that
Patrick- I
point,
think I
the
think
theory
you
is
should-
it's primed and ready as soon as you put it down. Will
think-
it get the
yeah.
results that you want? You have to figure that out for yourself. Because
So-
back in the day, Nick Hawk Pro, I hated the pad washer. I did 7 drops, you know what I mean? Fresh pad every panel. I got perfect paint in my head. I ended up all-nighters.
Yeah,
here's
you know
what
what
I'm
I'm
saying
saying?
about
Like,
You were killing it, bro.
but no, all-nighters. Like, I lost a lot personally. Like, it was too much for me.
But here's the thing: is you guys develop that compound or that polish
Yeah.
to work in conjunction with the way
Totally.
you guys do stuff with
Yeah,
the
yeah.
pad washer.
your
So
process is your
it's
process.
null and void there. So that makes sense.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So it's its own lane, but I
Yeah,
just
absolutely.
Like,
No, but-
I love air too. Deep down, I still love air to clean my pads.
It goes back.
but I had to
I think
clean
you
it
need
out
both,
under the
bro.
sink.
Yeah.
and
I think it's
it
just
took
like
so
you,
long.
honestly, like so. It just depends, but I feel like both are good.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
cause even dude, there's this dude. I follow him. He's a dope ass detailer. Keys Touch. He's in at Southern
Oh,
California.
Keys Touch. Yeah, he's a real one.
And he does, he does this, but he called it. People were tripping. Is that he uses his heat, or he uses
Steamer?
his steamer to clean his pads, and everyone's like, "You're gonna separate the glue on your pad, blah blah blah."
Yeah,
blah.
yeah.
But bro, I see that seems to me, dude, it's working for you.
You know what?
You know
if
what?
it works, it works. What
Absolutely.
you were saying. There's
Absolutely.
no rule.
If-
Yeah.
Here's the thing: is if the trade-off for you is I buy more pads, but I get cleaner pads, that's absolutely cool. He might be buying more pads. It might be delaminating quicker, but he's figured out how to make that balance work. And that's again, there's no hard and fast rules. Figure out what works for you. And going back to it, like use a pad washer if the compound liquid you're using works in conjunction
Yeah,
with that.
so you can't like
know what you're using.
The professional's a professional. Like you can't, dude. You work in any industry. There's whoever gets it right gets
Yep.
it right.
Are you making money? Are you getting customer pleasing results? Then it doesn't matter how
And
you're doing it.
at
Dude,
some
we
point,
just-
you
we
gotta
just went
rely
off.
on your
We
own
seriously just-
wisdom
I
and
knew-
intuition
I knew
on
I
this.
was gonna
Like,
tell you I was gonna talk about
talking
this, bro.
about this
hope
to
you're happy
another
with yourself.
kid today. Like, he was asking, like, do I use the plush towel to wipe it off at the end? At that point, I was like, I'm gonna recommend use a short nap towel to wipe off the polish. But guess what? This is where you drive. Okay, you start using the polish. You start using the towels. You figure it out for yourself, right? There's only so much
You
that
can
we
guide.
can say.
you can
Yeah.
guide-
You
can
gotta be
guide.
in those trenches and figure
But
this out.
another
on
thing
your own.
all
though
paid
too,
dependent.
if I'm with you, and because I work with other detailers, like I love to do that. Like I'll go work with the guy that needs help or someone needs help. I'll go out and help them, and they like a certain way. If I go to him, I'm gonna adapt and work with him. If I go to you, I'm gonna work. You know, everybody has a way to get to it. It's just like, anyways. We
Yeah.
just ramble, bro. But
We
put
did.
this last thing on real quick.
Let's get
We just
inspired.
went in,
Let's
bro.
get inspired. We're gonna listen to this and be like, man, we shouldn't do podcasts when we're sick. All right, here we go.
Saying men should be dangerous. By dangerous, that implies I should be ready to threaten someone, to hurt somebody.
No, you should be capable of it, but that doesn't mean you should use it. There's nothing to you otherwise. Like if you're not a formidable force, there's no morality in your self-control. If you're incapable of violence, not being violent isn't a virtue. People who teach martial arts know this full well, right? If you learn a martial art, you learn to be dangerous, but simultaneously you learn to control it. Both of those come together. And the combination of that capacity for danger and the capacity for control is what brings about the virtue. Otherwise, you confuse weakness with moral virtue. I'm harmless, therefore I'm good. It's like, no, that isn't how it works. That isn't how it works at all. If you're harmless, you're just weak. And if you're weak, you're not going to be good. You can't be, because it takes strength to be good. It's very difficult to be good.
Oh,
It's
dang, I
so
like
crazy that this
I
is
love
how we
that.
ended. Because we've been talking about discipline this whole podcast, right? It's funny how many
even
times
know.
that got interjected.
Yeah.
I mean, and this is, we're talking about being dangerous, but this converts to so many things, man. Like having the knowledge to get on a forum and shame someone because they do something incorrectly or the way you don't. That's not virtuous, man. Having the knowledge, but using that knowledge to help them instead of exerting your power on somebody, that's the real virtue. That's the real flex. You know what I mean? Not saying, oh, I know more than you and let me show you. It's, hey, man, I know more than you, but let me help you. Let me teach you. Not let me shame you. Let me talk down to you because I know more than you. That's the real virtue. You have to be disciplined. You have to be strong in every aspect when it comes to your family or your business, and that comes with discipline. You know what I mean? Know what you know, but know that you know how to help people too. Just be kind, man, without being a dick.
Oh, bro.
You know, man.
Jamie Gonzalez.
Hey, Nick the Slasher McGurk.
Hey, we're in San Diego this week doing a training. Friday, Saturday. Anyone's around.
That's from Naked Gun 33 and a third with Leslie Nielsen back in the day. Do you guys know that? Nick the Slasher McGurk. All right. Hey, I can't wait to hear about your training. All right, peace. Yeah.